Hey folks, welcome back to Drive Across Texas, my hometown edition. I'm your host, Pat Waters. I'm here with my longtime dear friend, Mr. Don Micah. He's actually the president of the Bridgeport History Museum, but before we get him started, he was my high school algebra teacher. And when he got out of teaching, he came to Bridgeport in 1968. When he got out of teaching, he became the mayor of Bridgeport, and then he took over the presidency of the Bridgeport Heritage Museum.
That's right.
Been here a long time.
Yes, I have.
I'll tell you what, if you'd be so kind, Mr. Micah, and first and foremost, thank you. I know you didn't have any kind of warning from this, and thanks for coming down. I really appreciate it. But go ahead and tell the viewers what you know about the history of our hometown, Bridgeport.
Well, a lot of people don't know that the founder of Bridgeport fought with a man named Sam Houston at the Battle of San Jacinto. And he became the surveyor for the entire state of Texas. He surveyed a small town, I think it's called Austin now. And then he surveyed a lot of the school areas. In the 1840s, he came up through this area on a Santa Fe expedition to go all the way to Santa Fe, Texas, which is now Santa Fe, New Mexico. He camped right over here on where Highway 380 is today. When he decided to retire, he had to go any place in the state of Texas he could go to. He picked this area, built his home where Lake Bridgeport is located now. And then in 1858, a man named Butterfield was going to have a Butterfield stage line to go from Tipton, Missouri to San Francisco. But it was bypassing Bridgeport because Bridgeport didn't exist, just a little farmland. So Mr. Hunt contacted the Butterfield district and said, why don't you move it farther south? That way you can go through Denton and maybe through Decatur. By the way, Decatur was called Taylorsville. And then go on. He said, well, we can't cross the Trinity River. He said, don't worry about it. He built a bridge over the Trinity River, and that's how Bridgeport got its name, because we had a bridge over the river. Stagecoach went here, and we became one of the sections that opened the west. But while they were setting up Bridgeport Station, there was a man digging a water well. And you know what he discovered?
I do know, but go ahead and tell the viewers.
Yeah, he discovered coal. And that was coal in this area. Well, it didn't do much because there was a civil war, held things back. But after the Civil War and the Indians were moved, the coal industry came, and Bridgeport became one of the largest supplier of coal. But you know what? The railroad needed fuel. So did the railroad go through Decatur? No, it went through Bridgeport, because Bridgeport had two things that nobody else had in the area: fuel and water, because of the Trinity River. They built a dam over the Trinity River just south of town. We had the coal here, and it had opened up. And guess what? They had to go to a small town south of Bridgeport called Fort Worth, because they had cattle. And so they had to have the cattle come. And so you see, Bridgeport was significant for the development of North Texas. That's the reason why I say we had the coal, we had the railroad, and you know one other thing we had? Those darn people who had the railroad decided to get rid of coal engines and decided to go diesel. Well, that put our coal business out, right? Except in Wise County and right by Bridgeport, they discovered oil and gas. So now then we have one of the largest refineries in the state of Texas, just located west of our town. And I'm sure all of you know where all this gas goes. Do you know where it goes?
Where does it go?
There's another small town just south of Lake Michigan. It's Chicago.
Chicago.
You see, Bridgeport is significant, not just being a small Texas town, but we're able to help out the entire nation. We give the fuel and gas. for the state as well as other states. We had the Butterfield stage line that came through to promote the West. And we had all these miners. So what happened? The coal mines went, and what they started to mine?
Aggregate.
You got it.
I don't
And
know how I
guess
guessed
what
that.
happened? The aggregate business increased, and we began to send our aggregate, which is between Bridgeport and Chico, to two major counties in Texas
Tarrant,
and
Dallas.
Dallas. So, what we're trying to say here, you're in a hometown that supports North Texas. You cannot land on DFW Airport without landing on Wise County, because the top layer is Wise
That's
County.
exactly right.
You can't go on Interstate 35 because,
Top players, Wise
and
County
guess
from
what I
Aggregate.
told you at the beginning, there was a guy named William Hunt who came from Austin. He came north, surveyed, and I always say he surveyed Interstate 35. He didn't, but he came that area because what happened was he should have made a turn at Waco, but he didn't. He kept on going up towards the Cross Timbers area, and you can look up the history of the Santa Fe expedition and you'll see the problems that happened. But Bridgeport is significant for the development of North Texas, and that's your hometown.
Proud of it. I tell you what, one thing that seems to be a underlying common denominator is that way back in the 1800s, when we started the stagecoach, we got the port out here, the bridge. Then we did Dakota to help the people. It's always been a community helping others, and it still is today.
Still is today.
2019, we're a
Still
community
is
that loves to
today.
help other people. And
Yeah.
well, Mr. Mike, I tell you what, I'm mesmerized by your knowledge, and I cherish our friendship. We've been friends a long time. I know that there was probably a time in our life that I was a little hard to handle, but
Oh, yes.
we weren't going to talk about that.
Not when you were 16 and 17 years old.
Yeah. But anyway, we appreciate your hospitality. Thank you for opening up the Bridgeport Historic Heritage Museum. Something that I'm very, very proud to be a part of.
We would like for people to come and see it, be able to see the development of our city, and be able to see some history of our stagecoach, the oil industry, our schools, and everything. And by the way, just for a point of information, you're in this Heritage Museum, but this happens to be a building with 2 first floors. Because you came upstairs to the first floor to see our stagecoach. Now you came downstairs to see the first floor down here.
It's cool.
Not very many
They
places have 2.
They can't
first
say
floors.
that. That's because we're cool that way.
That's right.
And you know, you can actually come into the Bridgeport Heritage Museum and get locked into a cell. This used to be the old police department.
Exactly right.
That's right. Folks, you need to come check out the historical downtown edition of Bridgeport, my hometown. It's a place that I'm very, very proud and very blessed to be from. And y'all remember now, that baby's coming from a Texan. Adios.